I was just at CES 2026 and Intel is actually making a comeback. What they called Panther Lake for a few months now is now known officially as Core Ultra Series 3. And Intel didn't just crank a single number here. They're talking about efficiency and balance. Up to 50% lower power in multi-threaded workloads at the same performance. And a big iGPU leap up to 50% faster. And then they made a surprisingly mature choice. Keep the MPU around the same performance as last gen, shrink it, and use that die area for other things. That's the kind of engineering decision that can actually help make laptops better.
The only questions that matter for developers and LLM tinkerers. Will builds finish faster? Will tokens per second go up? Will battery life stop crying?
Everybody wants a cool, quiet PC, strong performance, all-day battery life when we're on the go.
CES 26 truly felt like Intel's show. Both AMD and Qualcomm also showed new stuff, but AMD's was more like a budget version of things that have already been out. Qualcomm also has a new chip that I'm also excited about, but that one is ARM-based, so they still have compatibility to overcome. Those people that have already crossed over to the ARM world will undoubtedly see some huge benefits from the X2 line, but then there's also the question of Linux support. In Intel's message, Panther Lake is aiming to merge Lunar Lake style efficiency with Arrow Lake H style real performance, plus real iGPU push. The core claims are that 18A or 18 angstroms, in other words known as 1.8 nanometers, that's the new Intel process, and I talked about this in my previous video, 1.8 nanometers, that's tiny. Apple's latest is 3 nanometers. Anyway, it's supposed to be better performance at the same power, or the other way to look at it, same performance at much lower power.
For now, all we have is some numbers, and I saw some demos that they presented live.
I'm delighted to announce that we are ramping all 3 Core Ultra Series 3 die package as we speak.
For developers, the promise is simple. Less heat, less noise, better sustained performance, and laptops that last and don't fall apart the moment you do real work on them. Remember this trick, right? To get more power, you gotta plug it in. Is that still something that's gonna hold back these machines? Well, I'm gonna find that out when I get these machines in here. This new platform is hybrid. There's now 3 core types. P for performance, E for efficiency, and then there's low power E, low power efficiency. They even had nice little graphics showing off all the different subsections of where these cores are. And in the configuration discussed, it goes to a 16 CPU total core count. I got a hands-on demo that showed off how efficiency cores can be used even while multitasking on your machines doing certain tasks. And these new chips can dynamically switch between using the efficiency cores or using the performance cores based on whether the machine is plugged in or not. On the graphics side, the talk is XE3 iGPU, with the top config described as up to 12 XE3 cores. This XE3 GPU tile can have either 4 cores or 12 XE cores. Not as much hype about the NPU this time around. It's framed as useful but not inflated, with more focus on overall laptop balance. However, it doesn't mean AI wasn't mentioned. You have to mention AI.
Software engineering is not about typing syntax.
And software-wise, OpenVINO 2025, it can route the workload between CPU, GPU, and NPU. How well that works is something I'm gonna have to test out.
We've improved the multi-threaded performance of Series 3 by adding up to 8 E-cores.
Now, what's cool about CES and this particular announcement is they actually had real machines there. Not just Intel, but everybody. ASUS, Dell, Lenovo, MSI, even mini PC companies like Geekom, GMK Tech, and even ASUS had their own NUC mini PC with a new chip.
Our partners have over 200 designs.
200 designs? That's insane. How are you supposed to pick a laptop? These were all set up, available for hands-on testing, running demos. Of course, they didn't have any dev software installed, so when I get some in here, I'll be sure to test those. I was really impressed with a few machines from ASUS, and I have a separate video for that. The ExpertBook Ultra especially. This is a new thin business laptop. It's got the top-end Panther Lake SKU in there, the Core Ultra X9. Then there were some high-performance gaming/creator categories. Laptops from MSI. I didn't get a chance to go to the MSI booth, but I did visit the ASUS booth. And of course, they had Panther Lake machines, some even tied to big discrete GPUs as well. Even if you don't buy those, it shows that OEMs are treating Panther Lake as a broad platform. Now, we've all had our share of bagging on Intel for the last few years, and it hit really hard when Apple released Apple Silicon and switched from Intel in their machines to Apple Silicon. But Intel didn't stay knocked down. They eventually got up, and this is their moment. They're not just claiming numbers here. There's hands-on momentum, and the whole manufacturing story is front and center. You know, they got these fabs in Arizona. I'm not gonna tell you where they are, but if you look on the map, they're pretty huge. You'll see them. And 18A is framed as more than branding. I'm gonna spit out some words at you that I don't quite understand, but RibbonFET and PowerVia, these are positioned as key enablers for tighter power control and efficiency.
It enables Intel to deliver up to 15% better performance per watt with more than 30% better chip density.
What I really want to do is get these things in here and start testing them and showing what they're capable of for developers. Sustained builds without the jet engine, if the perf per watt claims hold. That's what they want in their laps. x86, most likely running either Windows or Linux. Calm down, Linux people. I know you love Linux and you're gonna leave lots of comments about it, but you know, a lot of the world, including developers, still use Windows. I keep pointing at this thing because this is the computer I just did a dev video on where I set it up for developer workflows. So that's what's here. So snappier daily feel when juggling editors, plus your terminal, plus your containers. And iGPUs have been getting better and better in the last few years. And with this one, with those new cores, the stronger iGPU makes it possible for you not to even care about having a discrete GPU anymore. It's more realistic now for light, local model tinkering and GPU heavy bursts. And like I said earlier with OpenVINO, routing across CPU, GPU, NPU could be great, or it could be annoying. Devs need control and predictability. I want to know if Panther Lake will let me route things the way I want it. Hardware helps me run AI, but you can't always rely on AI or benchmarks to cover the basics. That's why even after decades of building software, I keep investing in fundamentals. Meet Boot.dev, today's sponsor, and honestly the most engaging way I found to learn back-end web development. It's like an RPG for coding. Quests, XP, leaderboards, and an integrated AI guide called Boots, so you actually stick with it and finish. You get practical projects and courses in Python, Go, and JavaScript that map to real back-end work. APIs, auth, databases, testing, caching, the good stuff. There's a helpful Discord, clear solutions when you're stuck, and a curriculum focused on job-ready skills instead of endless theory. The best part? You can browse all the lessons for free. A membership unlocks interactive coding, AI help, progress tracking, and game mechanics. I used to binge back-end tutorials on YouTube like a Netflix show. Great entertainment, zero muscle. Boot.dev turns that time into reps that actually build production-ready services. Ready to level up? Head to boot.dev at the link below and use my code for 25% off your first payment. See you in the quests. x86 compatibility still matters for long tail of tools and gaming. If you care about that, there's quite a bit of talk about gaming and other channels cover that, of course. I did see some gaming demos as well, and the AI frame generation stuff looks pretty sick. I mean, there's all this talk about fake frames. Like, who cares? If the frame is generated or not, or if it's really rendered, it's still fake. It's a game, folks. All right. I'm not a gaming channel, so obviously I don't know what I'm talking about here. But if the game plays, then why complain about where the frame came from? Now, of course, OEM tuning will either make or break results. There's power limits, there's cooling, there's memory configs. That's why you have to watch channels like this to be able to determine what's a better option between the different machines that are going to be available. Also, drivers are the iGPU story. Many numbers of still Intel claims, plus a few early data points. I wasn't exactly able to install any developer-related software on any of the demo items that were shown off, so have to wait for that. So here's my checklist when actual retail units land. Big builds, performance per watt plus sustained, battery under dev usage, I'm gonna run it through my gauntlet of battery tests, noise and thermals during real work, and I wanna crack open OpenVINO. Crack open OpenVINO. What a dumb phrase. And I want to take a look at OpenVINO to see how it can handle the local models and how it does the routing and all that, whether I can get control over that. Does the CPU, GPU, NPU routing help or hurt? If Core Ultra 3 Panther Lake delivers Arrow Lake class speed at lower power and real iGPU jump. Intel's laptop story gets a lot more interesting fast.
First consumer designs available to order starting tomorrow, with more designs rolling out all year.
Apparently we're getting these pretty soon. So Intel definitely falls into the movers and shakers category at CES this year. Hey, good for them. I like competition, and sometimes I even like to see the underdog win. Intel used to be the overdog, and now it's become the underdog, and maybe it'll become the overdog again. Who knows? Keep an eye on this. It's going to be interesting for sure, and make sure you don't miss any of my developer-oriented reviews of new laptops that are coming down the line. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.